Welcome, welcome. It is Monday Motivational Moments with Marissa, and I am so excited to be here in Dubai, coming to you live with my good friend and fellow contributing author and a man in his own making, Nathaniel X. Ross. I am so excited. We are finishing up the month of March, and our focus has been on women. And so we talked about women in finances earlier this month. And I want to focus on you, Nathaniel. You have been here with me throughout the month of March, and we talked about, like we said, your specialization is finance and building wealth. But I want to focus on your organization, Abundance Legacy, and the role that women play in your organization.
You mean all of the women? I
All the women,
probably it's only
all
male.
the women, and the role that they are playing in your organization, and also how women could be a part of building that legacy with you.
Okay, well, let's see. My board of directors are half women. Half of the board is women. My staff is women. I'm the only male staff member. I take that back. There's two of us. Um, and there's a saying that from way back that behind every successful man is a strong woman. And I wholeheartedly believe in that. And throughout my career, I've always had strong women who have been part of my team, that have supported me and who have propelled me to where I am in life. Um, so I think there's a lot of truth to that saying. Um, and within the organization, everything that we do is built around. It's for everyone. Uh, it's a nonprofit and it's for everyone, but there's a focusing on people of color and women.
Mhm.
And by having the number of women that's involved in the leadership, we know that's always part of the discussion whenever we're doing something. So they have a seat at the table and a voice at the table in terms of what we do, and how we do it. So and the nonprofit is built around my life coaching practice, and my life coaching practice is holistic, right? You want to look at things from a holistic perspective, not just from whatever your particular interest is, because everything needs to be within balance, right?
Right.
And part of the coaching that we do a lot of different coaching, but we specifically have a woman's group that we do, free of charge once a week, where people can call in and they can participate in that woman's only group to talk about what women's issues they have, things that's just on their mind, or just to get through the week, or what have you.
Yeah, that's so important for us to have a network. And
Yes,
I know that you focus on the women in that particular group, but I know you have a men's group as well.
yes.
But I want to step back and talk a little bit more about um, the fact that you have so many women on the administrative side, on the staffing side. Why is that? I know it's not just because they're women; it's also because of their skill set, their backgrounds. So share a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, I think it's twofold. So one is because they are women, and women have played a very important part of my life in terms of who I am and how successful I am. Whether it was when my college career, my college administrative years, whether it was in corporate America and volunteering, the women have been there. The other piece of that too is, from an educational standpoint, women are more educated than men for the most part. Men have somewhat taken for granted, you know, their manliness, I guess, and figure that they can just slack off. And women have been quietly going to school, getting their bachelor's and master's and doctorate degrees, and getting years and years of experience under their belt. And for me, it's not about, do I go out and look for a woman? I go out and look for who's the most qualified to do the
Right.
job that we're looking for. And it just so happens to coincide with it being women. And also with the nature of work that we're doing in terms of personal growth, development, and finances, women tend to take the lead on that.
Mm.
Men kind of sit back, and the women are trying to coach them and say, "Come on, you want to be head of household. You want us to subordinate ourselves. You got to learn this stuff in order for us to be willing to subordinate to you." But it's an ongoing challenge.
Yeah, it really, and I'm glad that you say that it's an ongoing challenge. Because I remember yesterday being in a conversation, and of course, emotions and juices start flowing in regards to the male female relationship, and even in the sense of romantic relationship, husband and wife, lover, etc. And the desire for women to have men who, it's not about submission. It really isn't about submission for women. It's more of, who am I submitting to? Is there any real vision or direction that we're going on in? Because if you have a vision that is something that both parties can see as achievable or it's realistic, then you want to get up under that vision. I can't see you being with a partner who wouldn't want to see the success of the vision, because they both benefit from it at the end. At the end of the day, both parties benefit from it. But it's so important. What do you think is going on? Because I know for me, you and I always have these conversations, like, you know, um, offline in regards to we have an agenda. So a lot of women that you're talking about, we have an agenda. We want to improve. We want to make sure that we're always learning and growing. Um, what do you think is really going on with the men that is causing them to do that? And I say this in regards to it being a celebrating women, is what kind of insight can we have in order to kind of alleviate or like lessen this frustration, because it is frustrating.
All right, I'm going to share my honest opinion, uh,
That's what we need.
but it's not to blame women, but I want women to take ownership in what they're doing,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, the responsibility comes back to the man. But women are, and it's like it's all this stuff intertwined. So women have children, which they are so endeared to. They're connected because the child physically comes from them. So they're very connected to their child, and they want to protect them. They want to see them succeed. But what a lot of women have done in recent years, and when I say recent years, I'm talking about 20, 30, 20 last 20, 30 years. What women have done is they have taught their daughters, you have to struggle in this world because of who you are, because of your gender. And these are the things that you need to do to overcome it. And the young ladies are getting the message. They're going to school, they're learning, they're getting that experience. And they're like, you know what? I'm not going to be held down. And they're doing what they have to do. But the mothers fall short with the sons,
Mm,
and they pamper their sons. So
mm,
then the sons become lazy because mama do everything for them, and then they grow up, and then they go out and they want women that's going to take care of them and pamper them the same way mama did. So we're preparing these males not to be men, and then when you women who are being raised by your mom to be in a competitive world, when you go out looking, you're like, well, what the hell? What am I supposed to pick from?
right.
So and that's not to blame women. That's what's happening.
Right.
And like I said, at the end of the day, it's a man's responsibility to understand. He needs to be able to say, "Mom, I need you to stop doing this. Mom, I need to go out and I need to earn a living." Men still living at home at 20, 25 years old, still living at home with mama. That and even 30 and 40 years old still live with mama and she taking care of them. That's craziness.
It is craziness. Yeah.
That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's what we accept. It's what we accept. And it's what we also hold each other accountable for. It's what we're saying to each other in conversations, and even women communicating with other women. Some of the things that we say are damaging, and we need to be more accountable for that as well. And we need to nurture conversations that lead to cultivating and developing healthy relationships as opposed to just ripping them and then shredding them out, right? Ripping them apart and shredding it out. Because I can remember there's plenty of opportunities when I was married for women to come and say to me, "Hey, this is a way that you can handle this, or that's a way that you can handle this." No, the comments are, "Well, I don't know how you do it, girl." Instead of saying, "Oh, well, you have, here are your pros and here are your cons." Because even being divorced, I also share with women the first thing that you want to do is not automatically go into that direction. You kind of want to make sure that you weigh this thing out,
Yeah,
and you make rational decisions, because at certain points, uh, it does, when you look out here, that the pool is not there. And so don't be quick to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Kind of work on it. So you hit some things there that was very important for mothers to take into consideration in regards to raising their sons and even correcting the behavior. So at no point is it too late to start making the necessary changes. But I want to focus back again on your organization. Could you share a little bit more about what it is, Abundance Legacy? What is it about? And again, how can women
yeah.
specifically get involved and support what you're doing?
Well, it's really about personal growth and development, and it's really that simple: personal growth and development. And you could say personal and professional growth and development, but from a holistic perspective, right? Because you got to grow spiritually, you got to grow from a health perspective. You can't get stagnant in your career. You can't get stagnant in your finances. You got to contribute to the community. You got to keep living. So if you can look at what those core things are and build a plan, and this is what the nonprofit does, is it teaches people how to grow simultaneously in all of those different areas.
Hmm.
Um, and that's where our focus is. And we do it through life coaching. We do it through group coach, individual or group coaching. We do workshops and seminars. So I mean, that's what the workshop is there for. And I mean, if people want to volunteer, they can go onto the website abundancelegacy.org and see what we're all about, and they can uh, volunteer. There's volunteers sign up there, and we're always well. In fact, I'll share. I had a talk to a woman today that's going to become uh, one of our contacts in Portuguese in Portugal,
Okay.
um, and we were talking, and I've known her for a number of years, and she's like, "How can I get involved?" And I said, "You tell me. How do you want to get involved?"
Right.
And she's like, "Well, I travel, and people that's traveling should be able to have a contact if they're in another country in case they need help."
Right.
And I go, "Well, why don't you create that?" And she goes, "I will. How do we do it?" So we're now going to incorporate that under our nonprofit, where we're going to create a list of names and phone numbers of people around the world, so that if you're in another country and you need help, if there's a language barrier
Right.
or you need something, that there's going to be someone that you can pick up the phone and call that can give you some kind of assistance.
Oh wow, that's great. That's awesome because now that we are so international,
Yes,
it's so important for us to make sure that we're not just thinking about the U.S. That we're thinking about our viewers all across the world, and
right.
so that's very important. And so,
So
what
make
are some?
contact for me while you're in Dubai there, so I
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It's amazing here. We're at the Marriott, and it is. You're talking about customer service. Always smiling. Ready to serve. And so it has been, and you have to forgive me because I'm still in kind of woo kind of mode. But you just talk about came down and asked for some services, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to the gym." By the time I came back to my room, taken care of, top notch. This is a five-star hotel here, and if you can see behind me, no, this is not a screen. This is actually the staircase leading to the upstairs area of the hotel. I'm in the main lobby. It is what time is it? It's 3:30 in the morning. So of course that's another reason I'm kind of a little slow. But we're in the main lobby, and maybe I can
You know what?
move.
But I'm glad you said that because whether it's women or men, but women, you got to do the work.
Yeah, you
And
got to
it's
work.
3:30 in the morning, and here you are doing the show for seven o'clock show here for Eastern Standard Time in the States, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't have time to sleep. You get up and you do what
Oh,
you do.
and you know what's really, really, really nice? And this is not a vacation kind of a trip. It's one, it's getting to know the culture here. Two, and it's also I'm facilitating. I did facilitate the opening, and I will facilitate again for the closing of this retreat. And today we are going to be traveling to. We're going to be traveling to the desert. We're going to have dinner in the desert, so we get a chance to experience the culture here directly. We went to the souk. We went to the gold souk. That's a marketplace. It has gold. It has silver. It has, the cultural, clothing, apparel, and different things like that. Oh my God! And when you see like the herbs, when you see the vegetables and the fruits and everything else out of the market, that is my biggest thing. It's like, oh my God,
Yeah,
everything's so fresh. That's important to me. And then the culture, and then I love the food here. So I am big on the curry, chicken tikka masala, sagwala, the naan breads, and they had beet juice. And for those people who have been watching me post on social media, I've been posting about this beet juice. And the reason why I am is because it's so important for us to be healthy, right? I can remember getting prepared to take the flight here. There were suggestions to walk because the flight is so long, to get up and to walk around so that you keep your circulation. Well, before you get on a flight like that, you should be doing certain activities so that you don't run the risk, because the reason why you want to walk around and make sure you're circulating, because you don't want any blood clots,
yep,
and you don't want those blood clots coming to your heart or to your brain or anything like that. And so that's why it's important for you to take care of yourself before you even get to a point of traveling, because those are the things that hinder us from doing and exploring and going and seeing the world around us, is because we're not in a good healthy place. And what you said was a holistic approach. So it's your life, own it. This particular show is really about your life and really getting in touch with who you are, making sure you're taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. And so I keep talking about the beet juice because I have been eating. Like, you're on these international flights, they are feeding you throughout the whole entire flight. There's always some kind of dish that's coming in. And I was like, I really wanted to experience everything, and so when they came by with food, I ate it. I ate it. And so now that I'm here on land, and I'm making sure that I make up for, making sure that there's a balance. So I get to enjoy the food, but I'm at the gym working out. I'm drinking a lot of water so that I'm flushing my system as well. And because we're in Ramadan, the beet juice, and there's other detox juices are available here because of the fasting. and it's making it available to the people who are participating in Ramadan. And so, listen, if it's healthy,
Mm.
I'm drinking. So,
You touched on a couple good things that you were saying there. Like, so one, the pre-travel stuff, and that's the stuff we don't talk about. People just know, oh, someone got on a plane and they jet set to wherever. There is preparation and traveling, like you're talking about. Uh, but the other is where you are. You're in Dubai. I'm going to be in Malaysia and Vietnam and Cambodia and Thailand at the end of the year. I'm going to just be traveling through those countries. And there are a lot of men that don't want to travel. So I'm saying to women, don't be stuck at home with your man because he doesn't want to travel. Get out and see the world because there's a whole lot out there to see and experience. And when that relationship may or may not last, depending on whether you're dating someone or
right,
if you're married to them, it might be a little bit more challenging there. But you know what? When you're physically not able to move, you're going to need to be able to reflect back to where you've been and things that you've done, as opposed to I stayed in the neighborhood all my life.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And when
so
and it's so beautiful because you get to know the people. So you hear on the news and you hear on, or you see in movies, all the different cultures that are out there. There's nothing like experiencing them for yourself, right? So
yes,
you can respect. You know for yourself. So you don't have to watch a show. You don't have to watch it. You get to know for yourself the experience that's here. And one thing I always charge people: be respectful. Be respectful, be appreciative, be open minded. Like I said, the food here is delicious. I mean, it's delicious. I'm enjoying it, but I'm also trying to watch myself too, because it adds on to you. So, but just being able to, we're getting ready to go to Abu Dhabi. We'll be traveling to Abu Dhabi. We got the clothing that's appropriate for that area. And so, and then I even have a picture of me in the dressed in the cultural attire. So I will post that as well, so that folks can actually see it. But it's just showing respect.
mhm,
And then really understanding and knowing the culture for itself. So it's a beautiful thing, and especially to be here as a woman, to see the culture firsthand is been very impressive. I've really enjoyed being here so far. I have to find out the title, the name of the actual clothing that you wear to go into Abu Dhabi, before you go into the mosque area. And so once I do have that information, I want to make sure it's accurate. Then I'll post it with the picture of me dressed, and then also we'll get some pictures too of me being here, and the whole Revolution Ascension retreat. And so it's women, it's all women, and we've been doing the work, doing the introspective work that's required for us to ascend, because that's what Revolution Ascension is go up to the next level.
yep,
So yeah, so what a beautiful place to do it. So I'm looking forward to sharing even more pictures. But I wanted to make sure we went live here, just to share with our audience, just this space here, and yeah, and so
nice.
it's yeah, it's been beautiful. And we're getting ready to be, so the next stop is to Dominican Republic, where we have the Own It conference. We'll have that there here in the Dominican Republic, which is not as an extreme amount of travel as is coming here. It's probably about 5 hours flight time from U.S. Depending on what part of the U.S. you're in, but on the East Coast, it's about 5 to 7 hours to the Dominican Republic. That's next, and then in September we'll be in Aruba, again doing the Revolution Ascension retreat in Aruba, and I may be in the UK and Greece this fall, and next year we're going to Morocco.
So if I buy a wig and put it on, do I sneak into the conference there?
Yeah, but this is women development. This is developing women. Now, Own It is a little different because we work with men and women. Revolution Ascension focuses on women, but we Own It focuses on men and women. So a lot of the things that we'll be doing with Own It is for both genders, and I think that that work is important too. I think that it's nice for us to have our own separate times, but I think that part of what happens, we grow apart, is because we're not having those conversations together, so that we can get accustomed to our differences so that they can become more harmonious rather than combative, that they can do what they were meant to do and to be more complementary as opposed to competitive. We got to break, we got to change our conversations.
Yep.
We got to change our bragging points. We got to change that because you're boasting, but you don't realize you're boasting in a way that's offensive, and it causes the other gender to now be defensive as opposed to being offensive and open. And I had that conversation with one of our guests a couple of weeks ago on Sweetheart Before I Say I Do. Is when men say they have all of these women, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what you do when a woman hears that is you put her on a defense, and so now you're expecting her to be open to you, and now she's offended by you. She's offended by that kind of conversation, regardless of whether it's true or false. It does not need to be said in the presence of women. If you guys want to boast about that, you boast about that in your own circle, and it should stay in that circle. And to me, be honest, I think that men should hold other men accountable, because when you hold each other accountable, what happens is those who are innocent of that behavior will stop being mistreated. Because what the gentleman said to me was, you have to teach women how to not hurt the men. I'm saying, okay, well, you can't say things to a woman or even the opposite gender that is offensive, um, and then say that they should be okay with it. It's just like saying, victims of abuse should be okay with being abused. No, they're not. They're not going to be okay. It's not appropriate. And if you want us to move forward together, like the design of the love relationship was meant to be and flourish together, then we got to start having different conversations, and we do have to have different. We have to have a different attitude and response to accountability.
Yeah. And I have a request, being that this is the end of, well, two things. One, it's the end of Women's Month, but I just want to remind women that just because someone said it's Women's Month, it's Women's Year. It's
It's
women
women
every day. It's women's. So don't limit yourself in terms
to
of
a
your
month.
thinking, and what you accept. The other thing is, I want to put a challenge out there because I see it, and it's really disturbing to me, where women refer to other women out of anger as bitches, but they also will refer to themselves as a bitch. And it's like, no, don't do that. One is so demeaning and disrespectful to yourself as well as to the other women, but it
Yeah,
encourages men to continue to call you that as well. So I put that challenge out there to remove that word from your vocabulary. And if you're around other women that use it, challenge them to stop using it as well. And then don't accept it from any man or male.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. That the whole okay, when you're younger, okay, you're gonna do those things that really speak to your ego. You want to show that you're strong, you're powerful, whatever. But as we get older, language and our communication needs to change. It needs to adjust to our maturity, our sense of responsibility, the importance of how we play a role. We play the role of modeling the right behavior, and what's appropriate and respectful. And I think that women who use those kind of words and speak to each other like that, they're still trying to hold on to that youthful nature. And they don't realize that there's so many ways for you to hold on to being young. One, just be young. You are young. Um, and then two, um, just think about that. It is very demeaning. And I'm glad that you said it, because that has been my point for a long time. And I even shared on another show, old head, where young people call older people old head. And I said, that is disrespectful. And some folks may feel like it's a term of endearment. But when you think about old head, just the way it sounds demeaning, as if the adult or the older person is not too bright. And it may not appear to people who have been around that kind of uh, slang or whatever you want to call it. It may seem like endearment, but from someone who has not been around that kind of terminology, we pick up on that is to say that you're not smart, you're not wise, you're not to be taken seriously. That's how that sounds to me as a person who's not been in that particular area of the world. And you know what I mean? I'm from Jersey, so I know it's used in Philadelphia, and it just sounds so disrespectful. It sounds like you couldn't offer them any words of wisdom, the younger generation, any words of wisdom, because you're not acting wise yourself. So those kind of terms are um, they're not really good for adults to use. Even amongst other adults, even in adult conversations, because they are demeaning. They are demeaning, and they don't breed anything that's going to produce the fruit that we're looking for,
Right.
which is respect, class, a class. Um, that's confrontational kind of verbiage, in the sense that if you catch the wrong woman on the wrong day and you decide to use that word, that it's going to be offensive to that woman. Because I don't like it, and I don't ever call me that. And some of the other terminology too, it's just like the where they use the F word, and it's just like F head, and I'm like, okay, where did this kind of conversation come on? I remember back in the day, adults didn't talk like that,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
you knew that when you were around certain adults, what was what you could get away with and what you couldn't get away with. And don't you want to be an adult that when young people are around you, that you command their respect, that
Well,
they do listen to you?
but that's the thing that's you touched on it earlier that's missing. But when people come to other countries, you got to be open minded. You got to be respectful, right? So when I go back to my days of living in the ghetto, there was respect. We were
Yep.
poor, but there was respect. And I mean,
Mhm.
some of the hardcore criminals would walk down the street and they would walk out into the street and around and back onto the sidewalk because that was Mrs. Whoever's
Right.
home. You were like, you don't play with her, and they revered and showed respect to certain people like that. And
Right.
we just
Right.
don't have that anymore. People just say and do anything that comes out of their mouth, and we got to
Yeah.
the pendulum has needs to swing back the other way.
It does, and women can do that. Women have the authority. They just have to see the self value. You have to value yourself first enough to say that you don't want to be a part of that kind of conversation, that you don't want to be a part of that environment or associated with that. And that's a standard. That's a standard. And it means that you can't always be your kid's, friend in that sense. You can't be your kids' peers. You can't be the younger generation's peer. You can be cool, but you have to be their model. You have to be the one who stands out as the leader, the go-to, the wise, and the grounded. That's how you have to position yourself. And so, but these are conversations that we need to be having more of, and less of the what is it? What is that? Like mimosas and whatever. It's nice to have your wines and your drinks, but in those conversations, let's have some grown up talk that is respectful and age appropriate. And I think that that's where it goes to. It's just about maturity, having class, and realizing that to be young doesn't mean to be foolish in
Right.
word or deed.
Yep.
And so I think that that's where it is. But I'm excited about I'm excited about your foundation, what you're doing with your nonprofit, Abundance Legacy. And again, would you share with the audience? Now, you have to understand, audience, that Nathaniel is a part of Own It. We are partners in Own It. He is a contributing writer in the Own It magazine, and you can see many of his articles on finance in the Own It magazine every single month. And so this is not a new. You see him every week, pretty much. He's my die-hard partner and pretty much co-host in this area. And our focus really is on making sure that we bring balance back into the system, right?
Absolutely.
Where we want you to check in on, make sure that you're mentally and emotionally healthy as well as spiritually healthy. And even important is your financial health, because sometimes a lot of what's going on with us mentally and emotionally is because our bank accounts are not right. So this show and partnering with Nathaniel is really about bringing everything, or what is it? It's I want to say order to the system. What is it in Star Wars? Balance to the system. I can't remember, but I know it's bringing back balance, and
Yeah.
so that's exactly what this is. The Abundance Legacy Foundation. It also has programs. So, do you have any dates for your upcoming program? I know you were just finishing one program, one boot camp off.
Yeah.
Do you
No,
have any dates?
we don't have new ones yet.
Okay,
Next week we'll
okay,
put up we'll put up the website and the podcast, and that way people can go to the website, and then they can also tune in to the podcast, and that way they can start getting connected with all the stuff that we're doing, and we can even put up social media sites because we just started those. So
okay.
yeah,
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so folks, you probably feel like they've been all over the place. Yeah, we talked about women, and we talked about celebrating women, not only for this month, but always celebrating women. You should always be
yes,
celebrating yourself. I had a good friend share with me many, many years ago, Marissa, you celebrate all your successes, your small successes as well as your big successes, because they keep you motivated to continue to move forward, to learn and be open to growing. And then we also talked about the Legacy Foundation and where we're going to be traveling all over the world. And so, without further ado, we just want to say thank you. We hope our words inspired you and that you are going to have a terrific Monday. What time is it there?
it's 8 o'clock.
Okay, all right. So it's 8 o'clock, so it's on the top of the hour. So you have the rest of the week to take center stage and own it, and make sure that you connect, follow Nathaniel and myself. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. So we are on YouTube, and pretty much all you have to do is put my name in it, Marisa Bludorn, and you will see all of our videos come up on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and follow us. And then also we'd like to hear from you. So let us know what's on your heart and on your mind, and how we can motivate you on these motivational moments on Monday. And so, without further ado, we are out. You take care. We will have a great week, and we will see you again next Monday.